What many entities get confused about here at school is that they become tyrannical with the teachings because that makes them relevant. But inasmuch as you go, yes, they do, you're not nearly enough. Oh, it's nice to point the finger. But you see, there is a balance in pointing the finger. You're not doing it enough. So how, right back at you. Now, but they do so because of the urgency to remain relevant. When you don't do the work, you form opinions that make you seem relevant. Older and wiser, I've seen it all. No, you haven't. You should buy a ticket to ride. Do the work right. Then you'll have seen a lot of things. But you do things to become relevant. That's the bottom line. You can say, I had a squabble in my relationship and it was all about the past and what they weren't doing and, and they're changing and I'm not. Someone has to be relevant. But both people are being relevant. See, the bottom issue isn't about what someone did. The bottom issue, look at me. This is the bottom issue. It's how it's played. The ground of, people changing, people doing crazy things to become relevant, to become argumentative, to become, all the things that you do in your own personal life. You keep dredging up the past because somehow you found relevance in that. So you're searching for relevance, not peace in your relationship. That's just the drama playing out in this. It's being relevant. You can never control another person. You can lock them up, chain them, bread and water. But you cannot make them love you, want you, need you. Such imprisonment is a tyrannical power of a need for relevance. That's all it is. In the light of all eternity, and to the wisest being it is about being relevant. So people want to do, they want to be performers, they want to be socialites, they want to be the head of the family, they want to be this or that because they're afraid not to be relevant. And when no one sees you anymore, who is there to confirm your life? People are addicted to the 7 seals, or at least 4 of them. Sex and suffering and pain and, all the way up here to power and victimization. The reason that addiction is so strong is it gives you relevance. And perhaps there are wise people in here that will get that in the days to come. Maybe you will have started to solve your dilemma because it is about relevance. And so entities become fanatical. Not only about this, but anything. Doesn't matter. They'll become fanatical because in aligning with that, they are forming themselves as relevant. Relevant in the spiritual world. They are relevant in know-it-alls. They are relevant accurately. But the key to understanding when you know that relevance is the ground of this alignment, that's relevance. How we know that is because if we ask them to live their convictions, if we ask them to take all the spiritual knowledge and change, they can't do it because they're afraid they will lose relevance. Changing your day, creating your day, is a gamble on relevance. Moving to a new neighborhood is a gamble on relevance. Learning to love and unlimited freedom is gambling away relevance. Don't you see that? So it's never about you being such a buffoon and such a phony, sweet person and, befriending all these people because you are, that's insincere. That's just the acting that's going on. That's just this flying over this now place. It's an attempt to find harmony, meaning, relevance. You contemplate that after this event. And your shenanigans, and your phantoms that you see, and all of the phony threats you think, and all of the And you have to say in your wisdom to yourself, I did all of those things, not because I wanted to be loved. I thought that was it. But in my interpretation, that I remain relevant. And then the drama that happens over that ground will always assure me of my relevance in these people's lives, in my family's life, in my children's life, in my workplace. You see, because people do despicable things to find relevance. Turn to your neighbor and define relevance. So now, to continue on, so you see that in creating, we move off of it to this polarity, and we're passing this alignment, this now. And this now is timeless. But to you, you do not afford yourself pauses, moments, pushing away, the outside world to let you come back to this place. So as a result, in your life, the reason that it's aging is because you're passing over the moment by doing this, and the moment is what you're hoping for: relevance, importance, the right decision. And all day and all night is your mind plays over, as your eyes play over the scene in front of you, as it plays over the ceiling, as your ears hear the twinkling of drops of water on the roof or on the window, as you pause and your pipe wraps its smoke around your fingers and then disappears. It's all about relevance. And in those moments, I am is. it restores you. Because when you don't find it, that smoke will wrap around your fingers and evaporate as rain tinkles outside. And just as the smoke disappears, so do you into history. And everyone's afraid to be irrelevant. Every one of you. So, what you learned in the walk is the aesthetics of God, the quantum observer, the quantum field shifting from the human experience into the singular master, observing and letting dissipate what people work so hard to make, to build, to buy, to look like. They just dissipate in front of the Holy Spirit. Those are the elements of the environment that are relevant, are seeking relevancy. But in the Holy Spirit, in this eye of power, of what you have learned, and that you have been dutifully self-correcting to experience, is that then everything becomes irrelevant and all time exists now. And you are restored when you have this experience. You're restored. The irrelevant, everything gets tossed up into your life. You have gone to the future, indeed, and have unlatched to relevancy. You've detached from it. And in the process, you have walked forward in time, indeed, and you have gained moral ground when you come back. That's why everything changes. This process is so subtle, and it's happening in you. You cannot happen because someone will do it for you. This is where the journey is an alone journey. This is the alone journey of the master. And it isn't up some mountain. It can be as modest as a field in which all things can become changed. What do we do with you who don't even make the effort to self-correct? You get your reality. And I am certain you're going to leave this event and go home and be gobbled up by your need for relevance. And you won't believe what happened here to other people because it wasn't your experience. And you can say, I just didn't have the experience. Yes, that's right. Because you didn't go through the fire of correcting your arrogance so you could have a communion with God. Flat out. Because even in your walk, when you're trying to give it up, you're holding on to relevance and not becoming nothing. I have only to say to you, I have taught you well. I have given you the opportunity to meet your challenge and on the field of conquest in which to meet your enemy. And the enemy is always within. Always has been. That's where you'll find it. That's why you conquer yourself instead of conquering others. Because it's futile to conquer other people because, again, you're just looking for relevance. Your tyranny. It's about yourself. It is about taking the sublime on and giving up why you think you're so important in this drama called life. It's your choice. I'm not going to make you. know this marvelous world as in past that I manifested and sent runners to you. You too lazy to do this. I am not going to carry you over the River Jordan. I am not going to yank you out of your body and kick you into the door. This is where the teacher must let the student be initiated. And that cream will rise to the top of those true entities who see the importance in how this works and tasted that honey of glitter, changed those words, and gave it all you got. The future is yours. It absolutely will be. Now, life, living the remarkable in life, is that you can't stay hooked up like this. It's not your destiny yet. That time will come when you start coming back up this ladder. You're not ready. You haven't. You just learned to really seriously think about self-correcting. I mean, you have no idea how much you've missed by endeavoring to maintain the balance of your relevancy, your opinion, your suffering, you have no idea how many days of your life you have missed being wonderful. But it's not too late. When you come back from this experience, your whole life now reappears from the quantum dimensions of no time, of physical matter, of space, absolutely the space that is grown of this flowering event, and it's subtle, it starts to appear. You're supposed to live that. You're supposed to experience the wonder of change. Indeed, new avenues of thought, new avenues of adventure, new ways of understanding things. Just everything new way of how you suddenly saw a star. It's to make the simple large and to make the large simple. That's what it's about. So you must live. So masters live life wonderfully. They're the true mystics. But not because they won't tell you their secrets, but because it will mean nothing to you. It won't do anything. It won't do anything. That effort's been going on for centuries. It won't do anything. You just log it in your book of philosophical relevance. It won't mean anything. So we don't talk about these things that you're incapable of embracing. And in particularly, not those elements of reality that you will collect only to become relevant with. The sacred remains the sacred away from the profane.